My hair looks horrible. My God. I'm having a bad hair day. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today, my cat is... No. It's my baby. Hi baby. Down. Ugh. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here with a book tag for you guys called What Makes Me Pick Up a Book. Totally forgot that. Totally blanked. And I'll leave the original link, not the original link, I'll leave the original video down below. It was created by Wonderfully Bookish and I just really enjoy the questions, so I decided to do it even though no one tagged me. But that's my brand. I just, I film tag videos in which I was not tagged. But if you enjoyed this video, you are tagged. All the prompts will be in the description box because I think that's easier. And let's just get started. So question number 1, do you judge a book by its cover? It has happened before, but I try not to because I've had like really good experiences when I just leave the cover out of the equation. I can give you an example of that. I bought this book, The Lessons by Naomi Alderman. I found this book on a Friday and got it on a Saturday or something like that. I needed a day. I needed to think if I really wanted it because I looked at the cover and maybe you don't share the same opinion, but it just looks so cheesy. And I wasn't really sure because I didn't know a whole lot about the book, even though I read the blurb. I just didn't know if I really wanted it, and the cover just... it's not amazing. So I had to think it over. I got the book, I ended up getting it, and it was my favorite book of 2018. I just think that's not a priority, at least not for me. Whenever I buy a book, if I have different options, and if I have the money, I'll get the beautiful edition, but if not, it's not a problem. Like, I'll just get a cheaper edition and I'm fine with it. So question number 2, focusing just on the cover, what attracts you to pick it up? I don't know. Maybe the colors and if it's sparkly or not. Even though I don't really care about the covers, like that's not a priority. I found this book, The Exorcist by Sarah Perry, which I haven't read yet, but it was like this at the bookstore, and I saw this cover and I was just sold. So beautiful. It's sparkly, the colors are just beautiful, you can feel the letters. It's amazing. I think it's really gorgeous, and I'm going to be honest, I saw this book, I saw how beautiful the cover was, and so I picked it up. I looked it over, I read a few pages, and I was like, I want this book. And that happened just because I really liked how it looked, but it's not always like that. Sometimes the book is really, really cool, and I picked it up, and at least the cover is really cool. I picked it up, and I'm not that interested anymore. But still, I think the colors play a big role, and also if it's sparkly or not, because we love sparkly books. But I also like really simple books, and I can give you an example. For example, Haruki Murakami's books in Portuguese are very, very simple. Most of them are just white with red and black for the title. This is his latest book, Killing Commendatory, and it has this illustration, but I still think it's super simple, and I like them like that. So I don't really mind simple covers. They just have to look clean. Question number 3. Do you read the synopsis first or prefer to go in without knowing anything about the book? So with classics, I go in without knowing anything about it because I think classics are very character driven and plots are often very simple. So it's easy to get spoiled. So I try not to read the synopsis. I try not to read the blurb. It has happened before that I read a blurb, and even though it was character driven, I was able to predict so much because the synopsis was really not that good. So with classics, I just stay away from it. I don't care. I'll just read them. because I'm curious, because I like the author, because it's one of my favorite time periods maybe, or literary movements. But with contemporary novels or historical fiction, I'll read the synopsis just so I have an idea. But nevertheless, it has happened before that I read the blurbs and I was able to predict every single thing that happened. That was the situation with How Far We Fall by Jane Schmidt. It was just so obvious, just from the blurb. But still, I gave it a shot. Unfortunately, it was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, it sometimes it happens. With historical fiction, for example, I mean, I'm interested in a lot of things, but when I bought A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Tolls, I read the blurb, and that book is set in Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution, and it is about someone who goes against the Bolshevik Revolution. So I was like sold because I'm so interested in that, and it's just one of my obsessions. So I really wanted to get that book. But I'm very inconsistent. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes I like to surprise myself and I start reading a book without reading the blurb. For example, with Murakami, I never read the blurb. I never read the synopsis. I just start reading Murakami because I know that I'm going to love it either way. But I like going in without knowing what I'm getting myself into. Question number 4. Do you have any auto-buy authors? So insta-buy authors. Authors whose books you will always buy even without knowing anything about them. So Murakami, for sure, he's an instant author, and a lot of classic authors as well, whose books are really, I want to own all of them. For example, Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, Mary Shelley, John Steinbeck. Like, I want to own all of their books one day. So I would say some classic authors and Murakami. I might find new ones, who knows? Question number 5. Are you more likely to pick up a book if it includes specific elements or themes? For example, LGBTQ plus representation, mental health representation, disability representation, etc. No. No, I don't tend to do that, even though I really like character-driven books, and I think these representations have to do with the character and the character's development. I don't actively look for these sort of themes. If they're there, it's amazing, and I like being surprised. I read Kafka on the Shore this past summer, and there's a transgender character there, and I didn't know, and I was so surprised, and it was amazing. So obviously we love that, but I don't actively look for representation. When it comes to memoirs, and I'm sort of talking about memoirs as a separate like entity, because it's nonfiction. I really like memoirs that are about struggling with mental health. And I've read Life Inside by Mindy Lewis. If you haven't read it and you like books about mental health, then I think that's an amazing book. I only picked it up because it was set in the 60s and it was about a girl struggling with mental health. And that's just something that I'm really interested in, but in memoirs, so nonfiction. When it comes to fiction, is not something that I actively look for. Question number 6. Do you ever read a book that has generally negative reviews just to form your own opinion of it? Again, I don't actively look for books that have negative reviews. I'll just read whatever I want. I just don't let myself get influenced by that. I follow a lot of people on Instagram, and I subscribe to a lot of people here on BookTube. People whose opinions I trust and people who share the same reading preferences. But when they say they didn't like a book, that doesn't put me off. It just depends on the book. If I find it interesting, I might read it, even though that person didn't like it. If I feel like it's not the book for me, I won't pick it up for now, but maybe one day, who knows? I try not to let myself get influenced. I just don't like the idea of my opinion being the reason why I didn't read a book. That's why I'm so against the star ranking system. I stopped star ranking my books, and if you want to know more about that, I'll leave the video up here. But I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of someone going through my Goodreads profile, see that I didn't like a book, gave it a 1-star ranking, and say, well, I'm not going to read it because she didn't like it. I don't want that. I don't want to influence people like that. So I stopped doing it, and I really think that it is keeping us from enjoying books. Question number 7. Do you ever buy a book just because another booktuber or book blogger has reviewed it or talked about it a lot? Well, sometimes. Who knows? Maybe the review was really good. Not, obviously, it depends. When I say the review was really good, doesn't mean the person had to love it. It depends. Sometimes people will review a book and they did a really good job with it. It was spoiler-free, and the way they talked about it made me really curious. So sometimes, yeah, I'll read a book just because somebody reviewed it. That's how you get to know more books. Also, it depends on the book. It depends on the author. It depends on the genre. It depends on so many things. Question number 8. Is there anyone whose book recommendations you will generally always trust? There are a few people out there whose books recommendations I just trust, but I'm not going to say generally always, like often. And I don't like saying always, and I don't like saying never. There are even my favorite booktubers, like I don't always just read the books they like just because they say they like them, if that makes sense. I'll give it a shot. If I find the book intriguing, I have to look it up. I'll read a few pages, see if it interests me or not. And if it doesn't, I won't read it. Even though that booktuber or bookstagrammer recommended it. It just really depends. I'm not sure how to answer this question. I bought The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Avery? I don't remember. I bought it because a lot of people said it was good. People whose opinions I often trust. And it was really, really bad. I hated that book with a passion. I'm still upset that I spent money on that. So I wouldn't say always. But yeah, usually, often, I'll trust a few people because we share the same or similar reading preferences, or because they inspire me to read out of my comfort zone. But for example, when it comes to that, reading outside your comfort zone, it's really hard to just trust their opinion, because if it's a genre that you're not very used to, even though you really like their opinions and you really like their reviews, maybe it's not a book for you. So it's really hard to say. But anyway, guys, that's it. Alfredo is right here and he's biting me. If you like the prompts, you can film your own video and let me know if you are, because I would love to watch it. And I want to know more about your opinion on, judging a book by its cover and going in without reading the synopsis. Do you do that? I would love to know. Comment down below, like, subscribe, the whole thing. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for sticking around. I promise things will get back on track. I haven't told you about that thing I wanted to say, but I will. It's coming, and it's so good, and that's why I've been somewhat inconsistent with my uploadings. But yeah, it's coming though. So that's it, guys. Talk to you very, very soon. Bye.